Sorry, we got cut off there. Yeah, that if anybody, heard that, he would absolutely know that it was just a terrible, disgraceful, disgusting thing that shouldn't be allowed. I think it can cause, there are blurred lines sometimes with what's allowed and what's not allowed. And I think we're finding that across the board with so much of the changes that are going on. But I don't think that's a reason not to push and to hope for change and believe that not our daughters, it won't be in our daughter's time, probably won't be in our granddaughter's time, but in our great-granddaughter's time. That's how we have to think. We have to think that we're changing, that we want to change the future.
Yeah.
We have to get the bigger picture. How can we in the future, change this for women? The violence and the sexual violence that is just de rigueur, that is just acceptable. I mean, we mustn't forget about what's going on in the clubs. I was seeing yesterday on the news, there's been an increase again in spiking.
I talked about it yesterday in
Did
Coffee
you?
Moaning. Yeah, the fact, certainly Sheffield University was one example. It's not specifically Sheffield that's the main problem. There is a suggestion that the injection thing has been perhaps overblown somewhat.
It's not just the injection, though. It's every single day
absolutely.
People get spiked.
But on my Instagram, I had a real rant about this, and someone made an interesting observation the other day. They said it's interesting that you've, on your rant, had very little pushback as a man, and whenever a woman rants about this, there's an enormous amount of pushback.
I always get so much.
Yeah.
I get so much, and the thing is, it's not even. I get a lot from men, but I get a lot from women.
Well, look,
Because they seem
Julia
to
Cornell says, can loose women not front something around your ideas? I think it's so important.
I would love them
I think
to.
it's so important. There are so many ways in which this could be done. Well,
could we do one ourselves?
Yeah, having said that, there are lessons, community lessons at school that should be and are kind of encouraging this. But if you have children that are resolutely not interested in learning because they've been brought up or whatever, they come from a sort of background where to listen, to attend, to learn isn't that important to them, what can you do? There's only so much you can do. You can only take a horse to water so many times or so far, can't you? You can't...
Television is our biggest tool to reach everybody.
I think social media is.
And social media. A really powerful advertising campaign that everybody talks about, done really, really well.
Yeah.
Where the girls, the cute girl at the bus stop morphs into the mum,
That's
morphs into the nan.
Yeah. MeTube, Grange Hill would have tackled it back in the day. It's true, they would have done. You almost feel like the soap operas could, but I don't know if they have as much impact, do they? I agree. I think it would be really good. And I do think...
It's quite a good idea. I might ask my bosses if we can
I think it's
it.
a very, very... it is a very difficult thing because, of course, you don't want to be in a situation where you can't compliment someone. But I think it's the tone, isn't it? The tone with which... But how do you legislate against tone?
I think it's because we're always imagining how can we fix this by next week. We can't. We've got to think about future generations. We've got to think about maybe our granddaughters. Could it be really different for our granddaughters? Could it? We have to see it. We have to see it and believe it.
Now, the crumpet variant, as we've called it here, if you don't understand...
Please don't talk about crumpets again. We've not had a crumpet since we said crumpet.
Have we got any crumpets?
No, we haven't.
Fucking hell.
I want a crumpet.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just going to buy some.
How annoying is that? Well, okay, so on...
Oh, guess what, though? On the No Name Sunday show tomorrow, I'm making homemade crumpets.
What are you, in the live show?
Yeah.
Wow.
With poached eggs, butter and Marmite.
What? Poached eggs, butter?
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying.
Marmite?
Well, you don't have to have the Marmite. I won't put Marmite on.
Okay, all right. So Omicron, crumpet variant.
Here we go again. I won't Marmite.
So is anyone else as confused as me about Omicron? 1 minute it's kind of like our best friend and it's nothing to worry about.
Mark,
and it's going to be fine.
I'm glad you brought this up.
The next minute it reinfects if you've been infected, which is the latest data. Is it any more dangerous? Is it any less dangerous? I can't. It's like nailing a jelly to the wall.
It was interesting. There was a scientist on yesterday saying, at the moment, because we're looking at figures from South Africa, and she said there's a much higher rate of HIV there. So there's a lot of people that are immune compromised. So we don't know the numbers on the immune compromised people that haven't been vaccinated or have been vaccinated but immune compromised, and how that might be spread. So there's still so many variables. Yeah. So I am just choosing not to be anxious about it until we know more, because it could so easily be the thing that we hope for, which is it puts the pandemic to bed, or
recent research
really good. There's a lot of hope around the vaccines.
But recent research, and this is the news that's landing today, is that Omicron reinfects people who've already had it.
Yeah.
So scientists have detected a surge in the number of people catching COVID multiple times. It's a rapid analysis and not definitive, but fits with the concern about the mutations of the variant.
But this is what she was saying yesterday, because these figures are taken from Africa, where there's a lot of immune suppressed people, then that could be the case. But hang on a minute. I mean, the whole way through they've been telling us you can get reinfected, and that's why you have to have a vaccine even if you've had it. So that's not really new news. This is them whipping up anxiety again. I'm sorry.
Sarah Jane, it's the mental health impact that concerns me. People cannot be expected to live in a constant state of fear. Honeymoon fear cycles. It's causing significant harm to people's mental well-being. Elijah says, why can't we send vaccinations to Africa?
Well, exactly.
Totally agree.
Because there was so much bad PR put out about Oxford AstraZeneca, because certain other big farmers wanted all the money for themselves, and AstraZeneca is no profit. Why? I mean, so many countries said we don't want AstraZeneca anymore. Now what's it showing? It's got much longer immunity, the AstraZeneca. So... Pfizer, you have to put in a fridge like 10 foot under.
So what's interesting? So I think it's really important to moderate these fears. We did this before. Is, as Nadia says, this is real world data from a country that's demographic and physical health is completely different to ours and a lot of countries in the West.
And also, don't forget, they've always said to us they cannot give us any real answers for
that's
at least
exactly
2
what I'm
weeks.
about to say. Government officials and scientific advisors from SAGE say that we cannot fully assess the danger from Omicron until January. So you may as well just
So why be whipping people up?
Not necessarily whipping people up, but I tell you what the government should do and could do, and I believe they should absolutely obliged to do, is I think they need to bring in a gentle curve of Plan B, which includes things like working from home if you can. They've done the wearing masks in public places, though I'm not seeing much evidence of it anywhere. I
was in John Lewis yesterday. It was packed, and there wasn't a single person without a mask.
I went into a coffee shop the other day, and I'd forgotten my mask, hesitated at the door. Before I went in, they said, "Oh, don't worry, come in."
Oh, well, what I noticed yesterday, I noticed a big difference. I've never seen that amount of masking as I did.
Really? Well, that's good.
Yeah, and I was so hot in the shop, and I wanted to take my mask down just for a minute, and I felt so self-conscious that I didn't, because there was none of this under people's chins.
Yeah.
People looked so easy with it.
Because my concern is that, if there is reinfection with this Omicron variant and it does push people into the hospitals, a lot of people are saying, again, they don't think the big problem's going to be Christmas. The big problem's going to be January again. And, I do think that we should be taking some more extreme, not lockdowns, not anything like that, not closing any hospitality venues or anything like that. But maybe, maybe wearing a mask when you go into a pub before you sit at your table and
Oh, I don't believe in that.
I don't know. I mean, whatever the rules are.
I just think if you go into a pub or a restaurant, personally, I just think you got to know it's in there. It's just in there, isn't it?
Well, I was in the cinema.
Especially unventilated ones.
I was in the cinema and I heard someone sneeze and Nanny Di immediately covered her face with a mask. Just like that. But anyway, do you guys think that the government should go harder? Yes or no? Do you feel the government should press down on this harder? Yes or no?
I think they should say, because again, I think, let us make those decisions. Say to people and say to companies, we would very much like for you to allow those that can to work from home to avoid further. We can't have another lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's
looking
not what we're
at that
suggesting.
poor little boy Arthur yesterday and the catalogue of disasters that led to his death, and of course also the systematic torture of him over months. A lot of that was because of lockdown as well.
Yeah.
If he'd been at school, he wouldn't have been starved to that degree, and he's just one boy. And when you think about all those people that we knew nothing about, and when you think about in lockdown, there was a brilliant advertising campaign for domestic violence against women, which was absolutely needed and brilliant, but there really wasn't about children and the mental health of children, the physical health of children. So yeah, why not? If it helps stop the spread, those that can work from home, work from home.
Absolutely. So the vast majority of people here are saying yes, they should push harder, they should strike harder. Ireland have announced some drastic measures, and also Germany. Aren't Germany going for mandatory mandatory vaccinations for everyone?
I thought it was for over a certain age. Could be wrong though. I thought it was
Could be. Yeah, no, you're right. It could be.
But they said they had a chap talking on the radio the other day who's the editor of the biggest newspaper in Germany, millions of readers. And he said, you know, taking the pulse from where they are, he thinks there will be terrible violence on the streets if they bring in mandatory vaccines.
Yeah, and I agree. Anna Charalambous.
What, you agree that they should, or they will?
No, that there will be incredible violence.
Do you
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Because this is my question, right?
I mean, look at the protests there've been without mandatory.
If you bring in mandatory vaccines and somebody really doesn't want it, well, they have to tie people down and stab them with an injection.
No, I think they'll issue fines, won't they? Surely. I mean,
they'll just plunge people into poverty.
Yeah. Anna Charalambous. Yes, restaurant and pubs, cinemas and theatres, no masks, but supermarkets you have to wear them when you're not that close to people and you're not squashed in a room.
It's weird, isn't it?
Very strange, isn't it? The logic seems blindingly obvious.
I mean, I'm going to the theatre next week and I'm a bit nervous, I have to say.
Are you?
But I think everyone in the theatre has to wear a mask.
Right.
Do you have to have do you have to be vaccinated to go to the theatre?
Yeah, you have to take a test as you go in. If you can't show your COVID pass. All the signs outside theatres in central London are all saying, you know.
Okay.
Shows your pass. Ghislaine Maxwell has been going on all week. That's so we've heard about all sorts of potential people travelling in their jets. The
housekeeper, the testimony from the housekeeper was just
don't see,
so
don't
damning.
say, don't hear, don't see, don't say.
But he had a book of the rules and regulations that she'd given him. So was she crying?
Employee told not to look at Epstein. No, there was the accusation or suggestion that one of the key accusers was acting by the defence. Imagine that. Imagine adding that. Jurors were shown Epstein's massage table.
Oh, God.
It's getting pretty
oh, my
pretty
God.
hideous.
Why did they have to see the massage table?
Yeah, that must be quite traumatic. I don't know if any of the accusers were in there when that happened. So, of course, this is groaning along and moving along. And Prince Andrew was kind of mentioned again,
He's
wasn't he?
been mentioned, like...
The pilot suggested
remembers him being on
Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump were all seen on the flight. Everyone's going to say hello, Nan. Hello, Nan. Yeah, that's her, Nan, with her enormous gloves. Your gloves are enormous, Mum.
I know.
Yeah, she's just doing a little bit of gardening there, bless her. Nanny Di, everyone's saying. Hi, Nanny Di. She's going to be in Vlogmas too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so the Ghislaine Maxwell story trial is moving along, and I just wonder how long it's going to roll for, and whether we're going to get the result. Do you think she's going to be found guilty?
Well, after that yesterday.
Do you?
Oh, I mean, yeah. 95% of the time she was at the house. That was a very compelling witness yesterday.
Yeah, true.
Unless the defence tear him apart. I mean, was he cross-examined? I don't know.
Guys, do you think she's going to get off? Who thinks she's going to get off? Yes or no?
I don't. Unless she has
think
something in her back pocket that she can cut a deal.
Yeah, well, that's
with
my worry.
Prosecution, but I remember them ages ago saying, we will let her off. You have to let one baddie off sometimes to get 20 others. So if she's got a list, if she's going to do Clinton and
wouldn't
Trump...
that have happened by now? Wouldn't that have happened
Well,
by now?
no, because she might be trying to see if she can get off without doing that.
Right.
Don't know.
And so further down the way, she might chuck in
Yeah,
the
because
black
they
book.
can do that, can't they? Further down in the case, I don't think you have to have it all sorted before.
I thought it was all about what you plead. And so if you plead not guilty...
No, because think about the American dramas, court dramas we've seen, and then it's all going tits up, and then they come and say, we'll offer you this, and then they say, no, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Then I'm watching Impeachment.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Beanie Feldman is just brilliant.
She's
so good as that sort of wide-eyed
And watch
intern.
Clickbait. I'm loving clickbait.
Yeah. Now, fake arms. Did anyone hear about the Italian man who walked in to dodge his COVID jab using a fake arm?
Shut the front door! You are kidding me!
Anti-vaxxer.
Oh, you've got to love him.
I don't know if he's an anti-vaxxer or he just didn't want to be vaccinated.
How can you think he's going to get away with a fake arm? What an idiot.
Yeah. An Italian man who
Just
wanted a
goes to
COVID vaccination certificate without getting the jab went with a fake arm. He he arrived for his shot with a silicone mould covering his arm, but a nurse wasn't fooled. Listen to this, as the man has now been reported. The nurse said it was rubbery and cold and the pigment too light. Sounds like your arm, Mum.
Oh my
Can you believe
God,
that?
that's so funny.
So they're having to investigate this, and he
God.
runs a risk of being fined or something.
I think they should let him off just for ingenuity and barefaced cheek.
But apparently, if you go to Amazon, you can get yourself a silicone male chest half-body suit, complete with fake arms and neck, for £416.
Any human being is going to touch rubber and know it's
But
not a
isn't
human
no?
being.
What's more
Especially somebody who's been injecting people all day long.
But what's more shocking about this story is the fact that you can go to Amazon and buy anything. You basically buy half a prosthetic man. I mean, that's bizarre. And the final story is people are asking on social media, are we at war with Norway or something? Because the tree in Trafalgar Square is shocking.
It was bad last year.
It was
We
really
put
bad.
it down to COVID.
It almost looked like it had mange last year, didn't it? Brits mock sad gifted Trafalgar Square Christmas tree.
And it's awful. It's one of those you can't re-gift,
No,
isn't
you
it?
can't. You can't send it back. Now, we will be going into Trafalgar Square at some point, so we'll give you some close-up footage of the actual tree.
I was saying to Mark today, actually, watching the Vlogmas with you yesterday, I noticed how many of you really enjoyed seeing London, actually.
Yeah. No, it's
We
great.
mustn't underestimate that. We must give you more London.
But just to give you a little bit of history on the Norwegian Christmas tree, it's been given to us ever since 1947 as a thank you for our efforts in World War
Like
II.
you say, are we at war with them now?
But yeah, by all accounts, people
Sort
are
of
now sort of
slap in
saying
the face.
the Trafalgar Square tree has arrived.
It's awful. It looks like it's been dragged out of the loft.
Someone else on Twitter, Luke CB, said, "When's the other half arriving?" Have we fallen out with Norway? Someone else said, "Oh, amazing how they got Nelson to balance on top of it." Norway has not taken the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer well.
Who's he?
Yeah, football manager. I can't help feeling this is some kind of depressing metaphor for the state of the country. Ours, obviously, not Norway, says someone else. And someone else finally said, are we at war with Norway? So it's a shambolic looking tree, which led me to believe, are you a natural tree, are you a real tree person or are you a fake tree person? I like the smell of Christmas trees.
I love the smell, but something about Christmas trees these days, they don't smell like they used to. What's the best tree to get for the best smell? Maybe it's because maybe the non-dropping ones don't smell.
Why don't they have fake trees that pump out pine smell?
Well, you can buy pine smell, but it's never as good.
Well, let's buy pine smell.
But for sustainability, you really are supposed to have an artificial tree and use the same tree all
Really?
your
And
life.
just
Yeah.
use it all your life?
Yeah, it's not good apparently. You can buy trees now in a pot, can't you, that you then replant?
And then dig it up again each year?
Yeah.
That's not very nice for the tree, is it? Doesn't know whether
Well, I
it's
suppose
coming or going.
could you not keep it outside in the pot?
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
We tried to do that, but then it died.
No, we've got like a little baby Christmas tree graveyard at the end of the table. At the end of the
We've got to
table.
go. We've
We
got
have
so
go.
much to do.
So, guys, look, have a lovely day. Vlogmas will be landing later. If you're members, head over and go and have a listen to The Grinch being read.
And really importantly, tomorrow's No Name Sunday show, because it's Christmas, we're doing special lives all the way through December, and there is going to be a giveaway every single Sunday. And you know, we don't muck about when we do giveaways. We do fabulous
There you
ones.
go.
Usually old cash.
So join us for the No Name Sunday show tomorrow. What time is it tomorrow? 11 o'clock? I think it's 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
See you then.
Guys, take
Bye.
care. Bye.